call to order at 7:05 p.m. This is the Wednesday, December 14th, 2016 Finance Committee meeting. On the agenda for tonight is discussion over the FY18 budget, committee openings, and an update on the buy board. I am going to ask for an amendment to the agenda for discussion of the FY18 Finance Committee budget to be inserted as point number 4 under the FY 2018 budget. Do I have a motion? Can I have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
I have a first. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor of amending, say aye.
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 Aye. 3-0. Thank you. All right. Excuse me. So the FY18 budget is starting. What was left for us this evening are the directive memos that came from the town administrator. Did you get a copy? Is there one left for you? Here you go. I think there.
It's 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, there were multiple memos that went out. So this is the directive process that the town administrator has sent out, and he and I have been discussing kind of an approach, and we're both on the same page. I'm sure, hopefully, you guys are all on the same page. Really, it boils down to we're looking for. He's directing that there are primarily level-funded budgets with, same as the past. If there are any increases, they need to quantify and justify what those increases are. No increases in personnel or hours of personnel, given what we went through last year with the budget. We included, I think it was 4 or 5 new people in the budget last year, and then we also had the hours increase at the fall town meeting. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or the town administrator. So from a process perspective, we generally are going to, the budget sheets went out to the departments on today, the 14th. They're expected to be returned on the 13th, and then we should have our copies on the 20th as a committee. So the big question is always the meeting cadence for the budgets. Who do we want to meet with, and how often do we want to meet? In the past, years and years ago, we used to meet with everyone, which was a bit much. It was 3 times a week for 3 or 4 straight weeks. Last year we did, I believe it was every Wednesday we met during the week, and that seemed to work out better. Looking at the departments themselves, generally most of them are fairly straightforward. We like to meet with some of the larger ones, such as primarily DPW, fire, police, and I think those are the 3 main hitters. There's a couple others that we had in, but also make ourselves available for meetings with the other departments as needed. So I actually would love everyone's thoughts. Do you want, as a committee, do we want to move forward with just meeting at our regular cadence, which would mean longer meetings? So we would, if we get everything on the 20th for our review, just looking at a calendar here. Our first meeting we could meet with the departments would be on the 25th of January. And then we'd have the 8th and the 22nd of February.
What was the second date in January?
The 25th of January would be our first meeting, and then February 8th and the 22nd are our regularly scheduled. It kind of pushes us close to, usually we're trying to have joint meetings in March. The other option is we can play it by ear. We can plan a meeting on the 25th to regroup, discuss, and then my suggestion would be meeting on the 1st and the 8th with the departments. So it would be 1 extra meeting in that time frame.
I can't meet on the 1st.
Okay. Can I ask you a personal question? Are you still going to be here?
Well, what would happen if I wasn't? Basically, you wouldn't be able to meet.
We wouldn't be able to meet.
Would fold.
You're
All right,
old.
yeah, so let's have that conversation. So if the Finance Committee does not have quorum, we can't meet, we can't make recommendations. And I talked to the town administrator about that possibility because, I think over the last few months, that's really what I've been preparing for.
Yeah.
The information will still come to us. We'll still be provided the information through the town administrator, the town accountant on the budgets. If we do happen to get quorum at any point in time during the budget process, we can begin meeting, and we can begin meeting with the department heads at that point in time. It's really what it boils down to. We're trying to find additional members. It is a very important topic right now for the town administrator. He says he has a couple of names, but the last couple of names he's given me haven't really panned out either. So I'm not really sure. I have a lot of confidence in that, unfortunately. So I'll say this, if you feel like you're done, feel free to walk into the sunset, because, from my perspective, I can't do everything, and I can't keep the level of work that I've been doing on this committee. And I don't know if it is the Finance Committee being in the budget cycle without quorum that might kind of make some people step up. So if you want, you can think about it. It's your call. Just all I ask is just let me know in the next week or so what your decision is. So I guess, from the discussion on the meeting cadence, I guess Chris, and also the question is, so you can't meet on the 1st, you said, if you decide to stay on.
Right.
We could do the 8th and the 15th. So we'd end up meeting 3 weeks in a row, 8th, 15th, 22nd. So I think in the past, I'm trying to remember, I think last year and the year before, the first meetings that we had the town accountant come to walk through some of the things that she has, because she's had a lot of changes in her budgets, but also kind of give us an overview of the requests within the budget, since she's a good touch point with the departments. She gets the requests, and if there's anything that looks out of whack, she'll reach out to them. So we can start with her on the 25th, and then we can shoot for the 8th and the 15th if necessary. So the 8th would be just our regular cycle. The 15th would be as needed, because we can make the decision on the 25th also who we want to meet with. And then the 22nd would be our regular.
Do you normally meet with everyone of those three, or?
Normally we have.
If there's no added personnel, as he's saying here, no new personnel positions to be added, or any hours to be authorized.
We've gone. Honestly, we've gone back and forth how to approach the budget. Like I said, when we were meeting with everyone, it was incredibly informative, but it was a bit much. And I think that's really what a lot of people in town remember that we used to do, and I think a big reason why people are afraid to step up. Yeah.
Last year, I think we met with almost everyone, didn't we? It felt like we met with...
Last year we met with, it was police, fire, DPW, library, I think parks also.
Yep.
But we only met, it was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row that we met. Which wasn't, for me, wasn't bad. It was manageable. And I think, I'll be honest, having gone through the old way, and I would probably never ask a committee to go more than once a week unless it was necessary. We went through the year before, we had all the cancellations with the snow, and it was just constantly rescheduling. Because given the usual schedule we go through, by March, we would be looking to probably have an initial joint session with the Board of Selectmen to walk through the budget, kind of get their feel for it. We'll still get touch points through the by-board meeting. Usually we'll meet once or twice in the preliminary budget stages and just kind of gauge how everyone's feeling about some of the requests within the budget. So if everyone's okay with it, we can go with the 25th, the 8th, then the 22nd as our regularly scheduled meetings, and then the 15th if
As
we need
needed.
it. I will confirm with the town administrator what our schedule will be to make sure that we have enough time to kind of regroup as a committee in discussion to make sure we're comfortable with the numbers that's being requested. So I'll get a memo out to the department heads just detailing our meeting cadence, and that we definitely want to meet with the larger budgets, but we'll make our decisions on the 25th. So first print off that I gave you guys was the budgetary snapshot. This was put together by the town accountant and shared at the Board of Selectmen's meeting I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it gives a comparison of what we approved for FY17, and that does include all of the fall town meeting expenditures, and then her estimate on the FY18. And bear in mind, this is without any department requests coming in. So free cash is certified at $789,000 compared to $1.8 million last year. And the schools, I believe when we talked at the buy board on Tuesday, the school assessment is slightly underestimated. She did the historical percentage increase, but this year the phase-in ends. So this will be our first year where we don't have $100,000 taken off our assessment, so that will most likely increase. And then for the omnibus, it's just a guess or an estimate based upon contractual obligations that the departments have. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so anything else on the FY18 budget? It's early. I think I'll be honest, I think this time around we're just going to kind of follow along and get the information and make our recommendations. I don't think we're in any position, given membership, et cetera, and honestly my personal schedule, to really drive the process as much as we have in the past. But I talked about that with the town administrator, and he and I will make sure that all the necessary information is passed on to the finance committee members, and he and the town accountant have been very good at that in the past. So the other item for discussion just regarding the FY18 budget, since we have quorum, is the finance committee budget, which is a phenomenal $500 per year.
There you go.
So any thoughts on, do we need to increase that? Generally what we spend our money on is membership in MMA for all the members, and also name plaques as they are needed, and the attendance of the MMA workshop in October. Usually $500 usually covers it. I think we've had any overages in the past at that amount. So,
Sounds good.
all right. So if it's the will of the committee, I'll take a motion to establish the FY18 Finance Committee budget for $500.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Unanimous. Thank you. Just wanted to get that out of the way.
Break the bank.
Oh, it's funny. We dropped it 3 years ago down to like 250 because we were like, that's all we need, and then we ended up. I think it was Nameplex threw us over the edge. Like, oh yeah, forgot about those. So we put it back
We
up.
had more members.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And people were lining up at the door. It was great. All right. So next on the agenda is committee openings. So as I said, we've had a couple of leads that haven't really gone anywhere for openings on the committee. Town administrator and the town clerk, I guess, are working to try and find us membership. They have a couple of names that they're working on, and
It's your time. Plea to the audience.
'tis the time. We need you people. Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I've been on for 8 years. I mean, we've been 3 members before, and I don't think I remember ever being this sparse, though. So, and I'll be honest, it's hard to keep everything organized from my perspective because there really isn't a meeting cadence, so it quickly falls off my radar, and then I'm scrambling to, end up grabbing the wrong backpack.
I didn't know tonight until I saw somebody in
Yeah.
the market today.
Yeah.
Because the last we talked, we were on hold.
Yeah, so if anything changes on quorum for either of you, just please communicate to everyone as a whole. I will try my best to try and see what to just, I guess, garner some membership. But if we don't have it, like I said, we can't meet, we can't make recommendations, and we'll just have to see what happens. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
Nothing more you can do.
No, I requested some additional money in the budget for cyborgs so they could fill in, but they said no, it's just not there. All right. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. So no old business at this point in time. Mail, we have the Beacon. And what we have left on our budget, we have $324 for this year to spend. So the Beacon's available if anyone wants to take it home. Minutes, I will catch us up on minutes over Christmas break. And we are still in need of a clerk at some point in time. Sorry, it's unavoidable. We do need a clerk. Upcoming business, I left the 5-year budget model on there at buy board with the town accountant. She recommends that we start working to get a viable 5-year budget. I did mention mine, which she has seen in the past, and she's looking for something a little more simplistic. So we're going to try to spend some time after the budget is complete, and put something together as best we can. Committee updates, school board building committee is done. Capital planning, we don't have a member on capital planning. It's available if anyone's looking for more time out of the house. Capital planning did start meeting today, and the initial round of requests is about $8 million, which they are definitely looking to pare down. I think the feeling from the Board of Selectmen and town accountant, town administrator is, given the amount that we spent over the last year between capital, personnel, et cetera, we want to just lay low and see how things play out. Just kind of absorb the costs in, get things running on a normal basis without large increases, make sure we're not overextending ourselves. So they will be looking to pare that back. Executive buy board. So I gave everyone my chicken scratch from Tuesday's meeting. I'll just run through it. So budget sheets went out today. They'll be coming back on the 13th. RP is Robert Pomprian. Level funding, no personnel, no hour increases. UDAG currently has an additional $300,000 that's still outstanding. However, with the level of free cash, town accountant does not recommend putting the money into replenish UDAG. We did some of that at the fall town meeting. The OPEB group will meet after the holidays. Their current recommendation is reflected in this budget overview or snapshot of $300,000 per year. They're going to take a look at it and possibly advise that recommendation. And I do believe this coming year we should be getting an actuary report to see what our liabilities are. Three main problems for the FY17 budget. One is the Finance Committee membership because of reserve fund transfers, which can't be processed. They have discussed with the Department of Revenue, and there is absolutely no way that a reserve fund transfer can be processed without a viable working Finance Committee.
Wow.
The Advocates building, there's some money in how much it will cost to move those individuals before the building comes down. And then the property enforcement situation, which kind of came to a head big time last week. There's probably going to be some additional expenses for that, which kind of reverts back to the first one, needing our reserve fund transfers. Clerical union contract negotiations are underway. That's, I believe, the only contract that is ending for FY17. And then conversation around the budget model needing a 5-year forecast. And so for the schools, they passed a feasibility study for a new athletic field. They're using their own money for that. It's been a lot of talk about this behind doors, but nothing out in the open. So we don't know exactly what kind of field they're looking for. The guess is they will be looking for an artificial turf, very similar to what Neshoba Tech has, what Littleton I think is looking to put in, and what Groton Dunstable has. I'll be honest, and actually we can discuss. I'd love everyone's feedback on it. Now they're doing the feasibility, so take this with a grain of salt. The estimate cost would be anywhere between $1 to $1.5 million, and the understanding is it's the field, and then I think reworking the bleachers.
The track.
Yeah, the track would be redone. The bleachers would be redone. The field would be configured. From our understanding, again, this is kind of through channels. It would be configured so they could move the soccer teams to play on that field also. So it would be multi-use instead of just football.
I think they're going to do the baseball, softball also.
Okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to do the whole enchilada. The people for the selection for the committee, that ended Friday. You had to have your papers in for that last Friday. So.
How long does that last, that type of artificial field? What's the life of that?
Don't know. They have one down at Acton Boxborough, and I'm not sure. I could ask the facilities guy down there.
I think it has like a 7-year life. There's maintenance that's involved because
there is
It's not
maintenance.
maintenance free.
No, it's not. It's well, it's not like the artificial turfs that they used to have, where it was basically they'd pour concrete and throw a cheap green carpet on top. The rubber bits that are on those have to be replenished.
Oh, okay.
But on the flip side, there's also now concerns that those rubber bits are causing lung cancer or some kind of health issues with respiratory issues, because they become airborne in certain sports and can get into players' lungs. So we know that's going to come up.
Yeah.
My big concern over this, because they've actually been putting feelers out through the town administrators for the fields for about 1.5 years, is the condition of the elementary school.
Yeah, I've heard
Priority over the field.
I've heard that also.
Priority is one thing, but at least let's have a plan. I mean, I'm fine with moving ahead with a field as long as we know that something is in flight with Page Hilltop, and we're also going to look at that. Because I think that the people of the community understand that these things are needed. We have a new high school, which looks great. The field is serviceable, but it would be nice to have a better field that can accommodate more sports But you sit at a new field and you have an elementary school that is honestly kind of feels like it's on its last legs. They have heating problems there all the time. It feels on the inside. I went back, and my kids are in middle school. My youngest are in middle school. I went back like a couple of years ago, and even just walking through a couple of years ago, it was like, wow, you don't realize how deteriorated some areas can be.
Yeah.
And my big concern is that if we do a field and then they look at the elementary school, they're going to, whatever comes back to the elementary school is, oh, well, the footprint that you're looking to build on, we're going to have to build it where the field is because it's right next door.
And that was one of the topics that came up when we were talking about, I think it was Model 4 for the schools when we were going to do the high school. The high school was going to be a new building. That was going to be the spot that it was going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to farm out the sports for the time the building was going to be built, and then put a new field over where the existing school was. That was on one of the models.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I've heard other talks that they want to try to go back and look at the regionalization pact and try to combine the two elementary schools. As one community person said that, and then try to take Laura White and Page Hilltop, combine it and move it over to the property over by the middle school because they own that property. So that was another talk. Like, I've heard talk. I hear the same type of talk, but I think that would be
that's been floated.
That'd be hard pressed, I think, to go back to that regionalization pack and look at that.
I agree. I think regionalization passed because the elementary schools remained in the towns. And I know because my youngest were in elementary school at the time. I don't think I would have voted for regionalization if the kids were going to have to go all the way over to Shirley at that young of an age.
Yeah.
I mean, as it is, my kids have a 45-minute bus ride because they're the first stop.
Yeah.
So the girls,
we're right around the corner, so he's in the same boat.
Yeah. So it's I've heard that. I've heard putting in a neutral site in Devon's also. For me, the part of the frustration that I have, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, is that there doesn't seem to be very good communication about it from the school committee itself. I know, when they brought that up, it was at our last building committee meeting, and I stayed around to listen to Robert and Mary Malone's presentation and where that came from, and there was some questions about why Shirley wasn't there and how long has this talk been going on. So it was interesting. Now, Shirley has been, from my understanding, on the more private conversations that have been had.
Yep.
I think the priority I think the priorities need to be set, and I think honestly, I think as the finance committee, we can, I guess, give our opinion to the school committee that there's a need for the elementary school that needs to at least be addressed before we move forward with the field. You spend $1 million on a field and then you decide to put it in an elementary school and you have nowhere to put it other than where the field you just built is.
Exactly.
It's a little short-sighted. So if I hear anything else on that, I'll pass it on to
I will also.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. So that wraps up the buy board. It was a lot of talk about the need for membership on the finance committee. So hopefully we can get some people. And I did stress, and I'll say it here for everyone at home. I need someone who can step up and help out because I am overwhelmed between work and going back to school. And kids drive me crazy at home. All right, so I'll open it up to the round table. Anything, questions, anything for discussion? Okay. I guess, so all I really want to say is kind of around the membership, because I know some of us are torn whether to stay or go. But, I guess I'll just talk to those. The committee is what you make of it. I mean, you do the best you can, whether it's attending meetings, whatever. I'm doing the best I can, and I know personally that I do need to step back on a few things I have done in the past. I think we can still get through the budget process. It just depends on what level of involvement we have on the front, or do we go back to more of a budgets put together? We have some input, which we do want to have the joint meetings with the Board of Selectmen, and then we just give our recommendations after that, to town meeting. It's really, I guess, given the makeup of the committee, depends on what we can do as a group. And if there are people at home who maybe are on the fence, all I can say is give it a try. I joined back when my kids were younger. I didn't think I would have time, but there was a need. The committee was down to 2 members at the time, 1 or 2 members, and I made it work, and it's actually been very rewarding for everything that we've been able to accomplish as a committee and as a community, together with the Board of Selectmen and all the department heads. So that's all I wanted to say. Hoping to inspire maybe someone at home. Upcoming schedule. So I put to be determined. Usually we don't meet our second meeting, which would be December 28th. Usually we don't meet that week because it's either just before Christmas or after Christmas, and we don't have anything to look at. So our next regularly scheduled meeting will be January 11th, if we still have quorum at that point. And I will ask if you can at least check your town emails at least once a week. Just keep an eye on it. I'll try to give as much as information that gets passed to me to everyone else on the committee, and also things like quorum or meeting schedules, etc. And that's all we have.
Make a motion to adjourn.
At 7:36. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye.